Welcome, my sisters and brothers, in the love and in the light of our infinite Creator. I wish to continue our talk today. It comes from A Wanderer's Handbook. Let us speak of elitism. It has happened so often. I find myself thinking to myself that I am glad I am awake spiritually and not asleep on the surface of the world, floating towards the drain with no depth of insight into metaphysical thought. I catch myself and I go through the process of giving that self congratulatory pride up. Release from myself the self-judgment that ensues, and starting anew again, and again, and again. We as wanderers are in the position of the refined city chap who gets out on the farm and has to walk through tall, buggy grass strewn with cow pies. In the emotional nature we bring with us, or discover when we awaken spiritually, we are too sensitive for the swirling, busy inanity of earth. At least as seen from our jaundiced perspectives. Don used to say that we on Earth were all living in an insane asylum, and he was just glad to have a private room. He really felt Earth thinking was crazy. Sometimes it is hard not to agree with him, but those of Latwii say this: the principle of negativity is that principle which intensifies the illusion of separation, which is implicit within all creation. The illusion of separation is then used by those who have gained a knowledge of the negative polarity to dominate those who are not what is called elite, shall we say. Whatever characteristics are determined and determine the elite, then are those characteristics which are used to separate the elite from the non-elite. Therefore, you may see the distortion towards negativity within many portions of your environment, and indeed within the self. For are not all entities one? And do you not contain all things? Some wanderers express denial that they are better than anyone else. I hate when people see me as being more wise than them or see me as a teacher. I think the teacher-student is within all of us, and I learn as much from anyone I come in contact with. I am not into power plays or superiority complexes. I do have a knack of angering some people because I have a tendency to say all this meta stuff. Metaphysics is easy and anyone can learn it. Notice here that even in denying elitism, there is the play of pride. Wanderers are often mega smart, but as I have said, high intelligence is not the same as wisdom. It just gives us a good game, computer intellect to play with, perhaps not realizing that it is playing us instead. The brothers and sisters of QO have this to say: we do not see ourselves as being wiser than those within third density, but merely in a somewhat different illusion, and, therefore, in somewhat different circumstances. Yet we, as you, seek to know, and yet do not know. We simply have come to hold fairly settled opinions, and as is the way of things spiritual, our truths move constantly into the unknown, as do your own. Thusly, there is always the contradiction, the tangle, the knot of attempting to understand that which can only be embodied. Other wanderers have squared off with pride and are working towards humility. I realize that I have to work on humility. It is not easy to want to live a good spiritual life and have a good worldly report card. I have to watch out for the nasty ego. I have to laugh at myself sometimes. We are all bozos on this bus. This is important. We need to keep this etched upon our memories, as those of Latwi say. Generally speaking, those entities known as wanderers enter the density no better equipped, for the most part, than those who are originally from that density, in that the wanderer, in experiencing the forgetting, is not allowed to draw upon the full resources of experiences. They are, in essence, playing the odds, so to speak, that their natural tendency towards positive polarization will exert itself, and they will be successful in both contributing to the welfare of those about them and the attainment of sufficient polarization upon their physical death to be presented the option of returning to their original density or progressing to another act of service. We may have come from a wonderfully other locus in time and space. If we are Earth natives who have awakened, we may resonate to the metaphysical energies of such other places, no longer identifying with Earth thinking. We may have gifts to offer those of Earth and Earth itself by the nature of our core being. But as surface personalities and as souls in flesh, we are precisely equal with all other third density human beings, in that we all will have to come through the same tests in order to graduate from the Earth School. It can be easy to think that we are condescending to offer Earth our service. In actuality, I feel that we worked hard to obtain an incarnation here and were thrilled to be accepted. For in serving those of Earth, we have earned the chance which no one has in higher densities to live a third density incarnation by faith alone, and thus to work on our polarity and purity of desire. When we think we are here to offer our bounty to the lowly natives, we start getting into unfortunate frames of mind like these. I was becoming more and more disconnected from my essence. I was becoming cynical, angry, pessimistic, and more service to self oriented. I started to believe that people needed to be controlled for their own good. Well, now the world likes to focus on controlling other people. Spiritual seekers and wanderers of all descriptions, on the other hand, do well to have in common that uncommon frame of mind that focuses on the echoes and shadows of concept complexes of our own deep selves, rather than the gleaming surface concerns of our well-packaged world. In working in consciousness, our goals invoke work only on ourselves and include removing fear from our reasons for doing things and replacing fear with honest love. I agree that it is well not to talk freely about the life of the spirit that so fascinates us if the other person with whom we are conversating has not brought up this topic. But I encourage serious and thoughtful contemplation of our own personality shell or ego and its concerns. The balancing of the energies of the self depends on this kind of subtle work, moving into true concepts to remove untrue nuances. If we are all tempted to feel pride and elitism, then it is not surprising that spiritual groups would also be tempted thusly as well. Latwii says, many consciousness groups inadvertently foster an elitism based upon a truth which is seen but not comprehended logically, and that is that each person who believes in the ideals of love and service is chosen, is special, is anointed or passed by special vows, and that this specialness is a metaphysical and enduring specialness, enduring far beyond what you think of on the surface as life. You may see those who have almost no consciousness at all, apparently, and those whose consciousness, though competent, does not admit metaphysics. Yet these are not those who are lost forever. These are those who are learning a different lesson, taking a different road, going more slowly. There is time enough for all of consciousness, which has been created fully, to tap the birthright of that consciousness. There is no elite, my friends. There is, in truth, only in relative time, as you know it, the so-called remnant. There are no permanent wailers and gnashers of teeth, as this instrument would put it. All shall be made one. For some it will take more cycles of experience than others. Those who speed up their experience speed up both the pain and the joy of that experience, for in using catalysts completely, those side effects will occur. We wish you the fullness and richness of that joy and the understanding of pain which it contains. So, in our personal work and in our work with groups, let us endeavor to seek the heart of our truth and worth, but never the hollow shell of elitism. Those of QO will end this session with those eloquent words of good advice. We would encourage each not to feel better than the entity who was not aware of spiritual evolution, insofar as you have become aware of the process of evolution, of the kind of thing spiritual evolution is, yet still you are equipped with the full array of challenges, physical, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And all of these threads of being have their own best luster and strength. So much of the tapestry of life is created from difficulties, the dark side of things, that we cannot overemphasize the value of these lower energies and working upon them as though they were as exciting to work with as the higher energy centers. This is Robert, and with that said, it has been a pleasure to be of service to you, my sisters and brothers, in the love and in the light. Be in peace. I'll talk to you later. I love you.